This one's definitely going to be short. I know I say that all the time, but this time I promise. And it's not my usual thing, although it used to be. So, a few days ago, I was in the house and I just wasn't having one of those good days. That happens on occasion. And I still have these thoughts about, my mother who passed away some time ago. We just gotten past Father's Day, and my dad passed away on Father's Day back in 2002. And it's just all these different things that were coming up. And I've got some other things going on, so I can't sit there and tell you that I have been the happiest person in the world. And it was hot. If the temperatures have gotten hotter in the evening, the house just gets really hot because the sun is on the front of the house, and it's miserable. Still, I had plans on just basically staying in the house all day long, doing, well, nothing as far as leaving the house, but I had some other things I wanted to get done. But I just wasn't feeling just right or whatever, and I decided I'm going to go for a neighborhood walk. And I have basically 3 neighborhood walks. I have a really long one, I have an intermediate one, and then I have one where I just walk down to the school and walk back. And so I get myself all set and I start on the walk. About 5 minutes in, I realize this is not necessarily a good idea. It's hot. It's humid. The sun's not even all the way up, but it's just hot and humid. But I decide I'm going to trek on. And it's just miserable. Physically, I feel miserable, but I feel like I need to get this done. So I'm walking, and I get to an area where I used to live in this apartment complex. That's a huge place. Both townhomes and apartments. And I lived in one of each of those at some point in the... And I decided to take a different route through there than the one I normally do because I just decided I was going to change things up. I thought that I would get back quicker by changing that up. That didn't quite work out well. Anyway, so I'm walking through and I know I'm suffering. And my mind says I should just turn around and go back the way I came. Maybe I'd save some time. But sometimes we're just stubborn. I'm not going to say guys are stubborn. People are stubborn in general. So I'm walking just past the apartment where I used to live, and this guy comes out. And I don't know this guy from anybody else, but he came out. Hey, how you doing? Hi, how's it going? Says, oh, miserable hot day, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty bad. And he pulls out a cigarette, and he starts talking to me. That doesn't usually happen when I walk. Usually when I walk, other people are walking, and you just walk by and, hey, how you doing? Or give them a nod or whatever. It doesn't usually devolve into a conversation. But this did. I mean, he was this friendly guy, wanted to talk. Okay, fine. It gives me time to rest. It's still too darn hot, so that's not really good for me, but I'm going to be friendly. So we start talking, and he's talking about the complex and how he likes that. He's talking about his new car, which is sitting over there, this nice blue color car. And as the conversation goes on, he happens to mention that his mother's in a nursing home. Which I said, well, my mother was in a nursing home short term. Of course, I ended up having to break her out. So he asked me some questions about it, and I told him, how the situation went. And he says, well, I can't believe they did that. And I said, well, it's a lot more common than people think until they actually go through it. I did this video where I talked about how people can overcome some of those kinds of things, doing everything in order. He says, well, it sounds like you're always trying to help people. I said, well, it's one of the things I try to do when I can. And then I was telling him how my mother had passed away September 2021 and how I still think about that all the time. And I said to him how I had to break her out of the nursing home because they were just totally messing up. And I told him, all these different stories about it and how, I got her to the house, and initially she was, like a few days, she seemed like, okay, she's going to be good, but there was no point. At that point, she was just going to decline. I knew it was going to happen. I had pretty much figured it all out. I'd done all the reading. I'd done my research. I knew it was going to happen. I predicted when it was going to happen. And it happened on my birthday. I predicted that. But I'm telling them this story. And I said, the thing is that the last time she talked was the Tuesday around lunchtime, when I was going to try to give her lunch. That was the last time she talked. And she passed away on Friday. And I said, the one thing that I was thankful for throughout the entire time, because my mother had dementia, was that the last word she said was my name. She never forgot my name. And I know that's something that depresses a whole lot of people who have to deal with this, where their parents, start having the memory problems and having dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever. And he said, she gave you a gift. Because I told him how mom had always seemed to be right about a whole bunch of different things in my life. He said, she gave you a gift. That was her way of saying, you know what? I know you're going to do well. You're going to be able to overcome. You're going to be able to push through. And that was her way of letting you know that she knew that you were capable because she said your name. And I thought about that and I said, wow. I said, thank you for that. Because I had never thought of anything in that manner. I know that there are times where people have been known to say something really special before they pass away, but I'd never heard anyone say that someone with dementia had done something like that. And from that point, when I resumed my walk, mentally I'm feeling a lot better. And I thought about that the rest of the day. Even though I was in physical distress, it took me another 45 minutes to walk back to my house. And that walk usually only takes me 40 minutes total. So that shows you I was in that kind of distress. But I thought about that all day long because, when you're going through your issues, sometimes you just feel like, you know what, I just want to quit. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I like to get in the car and just drive as far as I can. Of course, gas is high, but still, that's what you think about doing. You think about maybe just dropping out. You think about just staying in bed all day and just laying around doing nothing, even when you can't afford to do that. And I just thought about this guy's message all day long. And it carried me pretty much for a couple of days. Here I am today, it's Sunday night, and I'm just doing this little quick video, and I'm thinking, that's still on my mind. I wasn't sure that I was going to even do this as a video, and then I decided, why not? Because I think that other people probably don't pay attention to those potential inspirational things that someone else may say to you that you never really thought about, and it just kind of brings your life back to some perspective, and hopefully it helps you move forward. And if you can't really figure that part out, then just go for the part where it makes you feel better about yourself. Maybe not necessarily your circumstances, but here's the thing: if you feel better about yourself, maybe you will figure something out about how to change your circumstances. It's just a thought. That's all I have. And see, it's relatively short for me. So let me know what you think. And let me know if you've had anything like this has happened in your life, or if you're hoping that something like this will happen in your life. My name's Mitch Mitchell. I wouldn't mind if you subscribed. I'm not going to push you, but I wouldn't mind. Y'all take care.